Hello and a very warm welcome to this special. We are building up to the match between Chennai Super Kings and Mumbai Indians. The El Clasico being played at the DY Patil Stadium. And the news from the stadium is that Chennai Super Kings have won the toss and they have opted to bowl first. No surprises there yet again, following the trend of winning the toss and bowling first. Lots of changes for the two teams. For Mumbai Indians, 3 changes in fact, where CSK captain, like I said, he's won the toss. He's opted to field first. But 3 changes for Mumbai Indians and 2 changes for Chennai Super Kings. The changes for Mumbai are Riley Meredith and Hrithik Shokeen are debuting tonight. Daniel Sams has come back in. Timil Mills sits out. Murugan Ashwin sits out. Those are the changes for them. We'll take a look at the playing 11 in just a bit. But for the Chennai Super Kings, again, 2 changes. Like we mentioned, Moeen Ali and Chris Jordan are out, and Dwayne Pretorius and Mitchell Santner is in. And Adam Mill, he said, is injured and has to go home. So that's the news from the DY Patil Stadium. And take a look at the playing 11 for Mumbai Indians. And like we said, 3 changes for them. Hrithik Shokeen, off spinner, comes in. There is Riley Meredith, Australian pacer, and Daniel Sams. He's back in, who wasn't really impressive. So I don't know what the plan is there, because Daniel Sams was very expensive. That's the reason why he was made to sit out. But Murugan Ashwin's been gone out. Timil Mills has gone out. The 2 men who are actually getting some wickets.
Absolutely. A little confusing, Mumbai strategy. See, Shokeen is an off spinner, and they've dropped their best bowler, Murugan Ashwin, who hadn't picked heaped of wickets, but at least he was the one who was, controlling. He wasn't too expensive. He was giving only 7.5 per over. And to get Shokeen in such a big match, I mean, it's interesting what MI is doing. It also shows that their bench strength is not strong enough. We've spoken about this. They invested a lot of money, Meha, in a very few players, especially in the top 7 batsmen. And therefore, they don't have quality substitutes. And this is a big problem. Daniel Sams, again. Daniel Sams, I thought his career was over after what Pat Cummins did against him. Yeah. He has one of the worst economy rates in the death overs. But then Timil Mills has also gone for runs. It's a like-for-like replacement. The only thing is that Sams also bats in the lower order. With Pollard's form, they want to prolong the batting order. So, I mean, Mumbai Indians, again, they've made changes because they had to.
But they really aren't spoiled for choice here.
And it is their own fault in the auctions.
That's right. So take a look at that playing 11 again for Mumbai Indians. If you're just joining us in, 3 changes for them. Hrithik Shokeen, the off spinner, comes in place of Murugan Ashwin. Daniel Sams is back in. And Riley Meredith comes in place of Timil Mills. So those are the changes for them. If Mumbai want to start winning from here, Rohit Sharma, the captain, but more than Rohit Sharma, the captain, Rohit Sharma, the batsman, needs to start performing. Now, also talk about Chennai Super Kings and take a look at their playing 11 as well. 2 changes for them. Mitchell Santner comes in place of Moeen Ali, and Dwayne Pretorius comes in place of Chris Jordan. Chris Jordan's been very expensive in the death in the matches that he's played. Dwayne Pretorius now replacing him. Again, a tough road ahead for this team as well, but they're doing whatever they can, because I mean, if you really look at wanting to make changes, you'd even want to probably change Mukesh Chaudhary, who hasn't been effective.
Absolutely. I mean, Dwayne Pretorius, I can understand, Meha, because Chris Jordan has been very expensive, not only in the death overs, but also in the middle overs. Pretorius has a much better economy rate in both those phases of play. Moeen Ali, the hero from last season, cameos at number 3, off spinner, picking wickets, restrictive, hasn't done well this season at all, failed in, with both the scales. Mitchell Santner won't score many runs. He's sort of an accumulator, but at least, he'll give you those 3 to 4 overs, not conceding too many runs. Very restrictive, limited over spinner. So again, they don't have great choices, but they're doing the best they can.
They are. Okay, now let's also talk about the head-to-head record. Let's take a look at those numbers. For head-to-head record between these two, it's been quite a rivalry, which has been dominated by Mumbai Indians so far. And even in the recent times, it has been Mumbai Indians who've got the upper hand at this one. 32 matches, 19 matches have been won by Mumbai Indians. But like I said, honors kind of shared since 2020?
Two each since 2020, but overall MI have won 19, CSK has won 13. They have played some great matches over the years. I remember the 2019 final, which MI won by 1 run. So that was a great match. The 2015 final, 2013 final. So they've played some great matches, 3 IPL finals. So, you know, it's a great rivalry. Unfortunately, in this competition, it seems they are, you know, trying to avoid the last spot.
And also, I think it'll come down to these two teams and their bowling units, because bowling unit has been weaker. Yes, batsmen have been inconsistent, but it's the bowling unit. And you look at both these sides, like you said, Nikhil, as well. For Mumbai, there's no support for Jasprit Bumrah, number one, and Jasprit Bumrah himself. Teams are, you know, seeing him out. They're really not going after him, and he's not got too many wickets, so he hasn't got the support. We've also talked about this, of how, you know, there's a lack of world-class spinner in their side, which is hurting their chances.
Absolutely. I mean, if you see Jasprit Bumrah, firstly, he's bowled only 8 overs in the power play. It's a two-way problem. One, he is not bowling enough in the power play because they need to control the economy in the death, which is the worst in the tournament for any team. And secondly, whenever he is bowling in the power play, he is not breaking wickets, which has been his problem since he came back from the back injury after the 2019 World Cup. Jasprit Bumrah is not taking wickets with the new ball also for India. We've spoken about this. Murugan Ashwin was their, you know, only leg spinner. There was Markanday also who they didn't play, but Murugan Ashwin, you know, hasn't performed to the level of the Yuzvendra Chahal, the Kuldeep Yadav, the Hasarangas, and today he's been replaced by a debutant Ritik Shauqeen, who's an off spinner in a big match. Also, there's no one to replace and give support. You know, there's no one to replace the quality of Trent Bolt. Where is your world-class left armour, Indian or overseas? And you know, this is haunting.
They're waiting for Jofra Archer.
They're waiting for Jofra. This is a team for the future.
That's right, but we don't know. You can never decide the future of a team in situations like this, because what if Jofra Archer is injured next season? I mean, there is no way. You've got to plan for now and then hope that your future turns out okay by planning for now. That's how I look at, you know, cricket. These days, because you don't know what happens with players and injuries. Okay, now we've talked about the weak bowling unit. Let's just explain it to you in numbers. Big problem for both these teams. For Chennai, the economy rate is 9.5. Mumbai, not much better. It is by far the worst economy rate in IPL 2022. Nikhil, we've discussed this as well. And even in power plays, they've struggled. CSK have struggled in death.
Absolutely. They have a problem of, you know, leaking too many runs. These two teams have the worst economy rate in the tournament. Also, they have a wicket-taking problem. And MI has picked only 8 wickets in the power play, which is the second lowest amongst all teams. And CSK has picked the least number of wickets in the death overs, the joint lowest, also 8. So the combined problem of not picking wickets, conceding runs, also, you know, batting order where majority of batsmen are not performing, you know, MI and CSK in the doldrums.
Yeah, there you take a look at that. Economy rate of 9.92. Both of them, the worst economy in the tournament so far, and 8 wickets in the power play. Second lowest for Mumbai Indians and joint lowest for CSK, 8 wickets at the death. So when your bowling's not good, this is what happens to you. You lie at the bottom of the table. Both these teams, that's what's happening with them. Okay, let's also talk about Rohit Sharma and how important is he to get back amongst runs. And this is not just for Mumbai Indians, but also for the Indian team, given that there is a T20 World Cup this year. You look at Rohit Sharma, the batsman in Mumbai Indians, he is struggling. 104 runs in 6 matches, average of just 19. And then Nikhil and I dug deeper, and what we found is that he hasn't been performing well in the last 3 years, in fact, in the tournament. It's just because Mumbai Indians end up doing well, and that has somehow been camouflaged, or at least gone unnoticed.
Yeah, in fact, since in the last 6 seasons, since 2017, that's 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 26 seasons, Maya, his average is less than 30 in each of the editions. And again, since 2017, his strike rate is less than 130 in 5 of the 6 seasons. So, you know, if you combine these two numbers, which basically means that Rohit Sharma, the Mumbai Indians batsman, is neither providing the cameos, nor is he providing the anchor role and scoring 70 or 60 balls and therefore it is a big problem for MI when they're not doing well,
Correct.
which is last season and this season. Earlier it was getting camouflaged by the 5 titles, one after the other, but last 2 seasons it's becoming very apparent, and now Rohit Sharma needs to do something drastic, maybe even drop himself at number 4.
Okay, and talking about struggles in batting, CSK is no different. CSK struggled in the tournament as well. If you talk about Rohit Sharma in CSK, you have to look at Ruturaj Gaikwad, the orange cap holder from last season. So much was expected from him, but hasn't been able to get going, except for the last game against Gujarat Titans, where he got 73, which will make the Chennai Super Kings fans happy, because it is important, imperative in fact for them to have their top order perform. Even Raidu hasn't done much except in one match. The batting is all over the place. Jadeja, I mean, so much was expected out of Ravindra Jadeja. He hasn't been able to do that. So it's not just the bowling, the batting is also a huge concern.
MS Dhoni hasn't scored runs. I mean, it's been a while since MS Dhoni, the batsman, has performed. And he keeps pushing himself down the order. I think he'll soon be coming out to bat at number 11. Or not come out at all. The problem is, see, Ruturaj Gaikwad, we discussed this earlier also, dual problem. One, last year there was no expectation. He exceeded expectations by his batting. I mean, he was brilliant. He has the talent. He showed in the Vijay Hazare, Saeed Mushtaq, everywhere he plundered runs. This year there was expectation and there was no Faf du Plessis for support. And he has slightly, he's sort of gone down the burden of expectancy, and that is the problem with Ruturaj Gaikwad, but I think he is going to make a comeback with that 73. Jadeja has again, filling in MS Dhoni's shoes, not easy. He has to think about field placements, leading the team. That legacy he has to carry forward. 4-time winner, second most successful team. I think he's struggling there, and they are missing Jadeja, the low order finisher, very important for CSK. With the ball also, he's not been very restrictive, which was his USP. Raudu, I think, is well past his prime. MS Dhoni, I mean, he's in the team for reasons larger than batting and bowling.
They're also missing Josh Hazlewood. Look at what Josh Hazlewood's doing with RCB. Okay, now for all of you who are joining us now, the news from the D.Y. Patil Stadium is that Chennai Super Kings have won the toss and they have opted to bowl first. That's the news from the D.Y. Patil Stadium. Like we said, 3 changes for Mumbai Indians and 2 changes for Chennai Super Kings. The changes for them is, there you take a look at that. 3 changes for for Mumbai Indians and 2 changes for Chennai Super Kings. Riley Meredith and Hrithik Shawkeen, they make their debut for Mumbai Indians. Murugan Ashwin sits out. Tamil Mills sits out. Daniel Sams returns to Mumbai's playing 11. Then for Chennai, Moeen Ali and Chris Jordan are out. Dwayne Pretorius and Mitchell Santner are in. Those are the changes for the 2 teams. And like I said, Mumbai, the problems are plenty for Mumbai. Not just the bowling, batting has also been a concern. Rohit Sharma's form has been a concern. The only silver line here in their batting has been Suryakumar Yadav and Tilak Varma. And Tual Brevis, given that this is his first tournament, pressure on him. Youngsters never played in the IPL, nor has Tilak Varma, so it's good to see them get runs. It's good to see them being comfortable in the middle, but when it comes to their experienced players, they haven't really been delivering. Ishan Kishan as well, couple of matches, 81, 44, after that, nothing much. It's a struggle. It's a struggle,
and I think the white elephant in that team is Kieron Pollard. I mean, now people have started questioning his place in the 11.
Yes.
You cannot be scoring 88 runs, not even one match-winning performance, no cameo, except 25 runs he scored, which had 3 edges which went over the top.
Absolutely.
And his economy rate with the ball is also 10. He hardly picked a wicket or 2. So Kieron Pollard is the white elephant. It's not so easy to drop a player of Kieron Pollard's stature, but the conversations around that have already started.
That's right. But still, what do you make of the trend of teams batting or bowling first, batting second?
Every day we sit here and we hope it is reversed, every day it's not happening.
Do you know that there was a friendly banter at the toss between the 2 captains, where Rohit Sharma, after Ravindra Jadeja's interview, asked him again, are you batting first? And he said, no, we're bowling. So I think it's a bit of a joke now between the captains as well, because teams, it's never happened before in the IPL, so many matches where teams just want to get a target and chase that target. And it's
Yeah, I mean,
shocking because
advantage, and there is, I mean, Jadeja said will be some due, but you know, teams are also winning batting first, and team composition, dimensions of the ground. You know, if you have a stronger batting team, I can understand you want to chase, but that's not the case here. So
yeah,
I think it's become a bit of a superstition. No one's taking a risk, and I think the first captain who does so has to get a special award.
yeah, I mean, I think it'll be interesting who will that person be who will break the trend. As of now, none of them are willing to. But let's also now take a look at the X-Factor players from the two teams. Two standout performers in this team that has struggled, both teams that have struggled so far. One is SHIVAM DUBE for Chennai Super Kings. Not too many people would have thought he's been a revelation in this IPL, highest run scorer for Chennai Super Kings, and the ease with which he is going about his batting. You sometimes wonder, is he the same person who'd been playing for Rajasthan Royals earlier? You know, just the difference that you see in him. He's fantastic to watch, and CSK would be very happy that he's performing because a lot of others aren't.
Absolutely. I mean, he has been the you know, lone star in the batting lineup. I mean, apart from Uthappa, who's opening, 250s, highest scorer batting in the middle order. He's showing, you know, the flair with the bat is reminding me of, you know, Yuvraj Singh in his heydays. A strike rate of 234 in the death overs. So one of the best finishers in the tournament. He has been absolutely brilliant and exceeded expectations. Finally, we know why Royals had persisted with him year after year, you know, before ultimately letting him go.
And probably that was a good choice because he wasn't performing this well. Just found his groove in Chennai Super Kings. Okay, then who is the X-Factor player from Mumbai Indians? It's none other than Suryakumar Yadav, and why not? He's the epitome of "Main Hoon Na," that phrase, because that's what he's been doing for Mumbai, just bailing them out from situations where things have been difficult for them. And take a look at that strike rate of 154. You know, he is, we've discussed this earlier as well, he is right now one of the best batsmen in T20 cricket in the world.
Absolutely, one of the best limited overs batsmen in the world right now. You know, he can do anything with the bat. 360 degrees player, has all the shots in the book. His batting changed dramatically in the last season when for the first time not only did he score runs, but he scored them at a very high strike rate. And that changed everything for, you know, Suryakumar Yadav the season before the last edition. So Suryakumar Yadav now, you know, he can anchor the innings if the early wickets have fallen, but he can straight away attack. He's brilliant in the death. He is, you know, absolutely a complete batsman, and I think, you know, he's also knocking on the doors for Test cricket in India.
Really?
I think he should play.
Okay, let's now then talk about the key battles that we are looking forward to today. The first one being Jasprit Bumrah versus
Ruturaj Gaikwad. That's what. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, they haven't played with each other much because, you know, that they haven't played in the IPL or in domestic T20 cricket. Both of them are out of form, so it will be interesting to see who has the person who has the upper hand in the power play. You know, that will dictate the course of the match. Jasprit Bumrah hasn't picked up wickets in the power play, but he's been very restrictive. Ruturaj got a 70 in the last match, so this should be an interesting power play battle, which I'm looking forward to. The other one is Rohit Sharma versus Mahis Theekshana. Theekshana has made, you know, an impact in the power play. He's been one of the better bowlers for CSK,
sure.
And they're missing Deepak Chahar. So Rohit Sharma has been completely out of form. So it could be a good gamble by Jadeja to introduce Theekshana in the power play to get Rohit Sharma out early.
Yes, I think it'll be interesting given that Mumbai are batting first, and straight away I would think that the new ball will be given to Mukesh Chaudhary yet again. He hasn't been impactful, but I do think that could be an interesting matchup, Rohit Sharma versus Mahis Theekshana as well.
I think Mahis Theekshana will get one over in the power play at least against, and it will be interesting. I mean, if Rohit Sharma is an excellent player of spin bowling, but will he attack? Will he look to play the long innings like the Rohit Sharma earlier used to do and then attack later in the innings? It's going to be interesting how he plays his innings.
You know, we keep talking about Chennai Super Kings as the daddy army, but there's one daddy who's been doing his job, and that's Dwayne Bravo. And we've got to talk just a little bit more about how good he's been as a bowler for them, the experience and the skill of not just bowling well in the power play, knowing what to do in the death overs. He's still such an asset for them.
Absolutely. I mean, he has so many variations. This is what happens when you sort of, you know, when you've played in so many leagues across the world, CPL, you've been a champion, you've been a excellent bowler for CSK, you've played with CSK the last 10 years, you've been a champion all-rounder. Now his batting prowess has gone down, but his bowling is still excellent, doesn't have the same pace, but there's very slower off-cutters, excellent yorkers in the death overs, very difficult to pick, back of a hand. So Dwayne Bravo, 10 wickets, leading wicket taker still, it's outstanding. It's, a credit to him, not going for too many runs. And he, with Deepak Chahar not there, I think he's sort of, at least if CSK are not doing well in the bowling department, at least, he is the only bowler who is, performing to expectations.
Okay, yes, and talking about Dwayne Bravo, what will be that battle be like against Kieron Pollard in the death overs? I think that will be interesting as well. And the numbers show us here that in 30 innings, Kieron Pollard has faced 159 balls from Dwayne Bravo and scored 278 runs at a strike rate of 175. Though things are different right now because Dwayne Bravo is bowling well and Kieron Pollard's not finding any runs.
I mean, this I think is the last chance for Kieron Pollard. Whatever equation he has with Rohit Sharma, he has to perform today given what's at stake. Pride and reputation for MI is at stake. He knows Dwayne Bravo inside out. They've played a lot of cricket together growing up in the West Indies domestic structure and in the Caribbean Premier League. So and he has dominated Dwayne Bravo. So therefore today, if that battle pans out, I think Pollard also has a very good record against CSK. So it's going to be interesting what Pollard does because Pollard needs to produce that cameo in the lower half. Otherwise, MI are in big trouble.
Okay, let's also now once again take a look at what's happening at the DY Patil Stadium. Well, Chennai Super Kings, they have won the toss. They have opted to bowl first. That's the news from the DY Patil Stadium. No changes there. Once again, captain choosing to bowl first. Now, 3 changes for Mumbai Indians and 2 changes for Chennai Super Kings. 3 changes in Daniel Sams coming in Riley Meredith coming in, and Hrithik Shawkin also making his debut for the Mumbai Indians. That's the changes for Mumbai Indians. For Chennai Super Kings, 2 changes there for them. Mitchell Santner comes in and Dwayne Pretorius comes in. Moeen Ali sits out as well as Chris Jordan. Now, as we speak, Rohit Sharma is opening with Ishan Kishan. So they are welcomed with a loud cheer in the stadium. It'll be interesting now. Who is it? Who's going to bowl the first over, Nikhil? What are your predictions? Do you want to take
I'll open with the mystery spinner, but Jadeja might not do that considering he has Mukesh Chaudhary, right arm super fast. but I don't know. I mean, I open with Thikshana. Take a gamble. These 2 teams have nothing to lose now. Now no one's expecting anything of they can't make the playoffs. Let's be realistic. It'll take a miracle. So therefore, try something radical, try something different because the squads they have, the playing 11s they have, they're not the best in this tournament. So they have to try something different. And if it comes off, great. Otherwise, no one's expecting you to do well as it is.
But it is important now for Rohit Sharma to fire. It's been, it's now got to a point where he needs to stand up for this team. That's imperative, like I said. So Rohit Sharma and Ishan Kishan. Let's see. Do you want to make a prediction of how much Mumbai is going to score?
This is DY Patil. It hasn't been the highest scoring venue. It's a big ground, big side boundaries. I'm expecting the batting hasn't been that. I think they'll score around 165, but I think they'll defend it.
Wow, really? I would think that they'd score around 175, and that's the only way they can defend it. They won't be able to defend anything below that. So that's my prediction for you. And like we said, Mukesh Chaudhary is very much with the new ball, standing there waiting to start. But it's also interesting, Nikhil, that I was reading about this, how IPL numbers have gone down, viewership numbers, and how much of that would be the impact of 2 of the top teams not doing well.
Massive. Because these 2 teams have a huge fan following, Mumbai Indians and CSK. If they don't do well, a lot of the crowd support, the interest goes down. And because teams like Lucknow and Gujarat Titans will take time to form, a fan base. So it's not surprising that a combination of two factors: the big teams not doing well, and maybe a little overdose of cricket.
Little overdose of cricket also because we've just seen an IPL last year. It's been not more
Ended
than
in November. Yeah,
that's
so,
right.
yeah.
So, and Rohit Sharma is out for duck.
Oh my God.
We were saying Mukesh Chaudhary.
No,
Mukesh Chaudhary's got his first wicket.
I mean, Rohit Sharma. Now this is
Caught
getting
by
a bit
Mitchell Santner. Gone.
first delivery. No, second ball. Wow.
Second delivery to Rohit Sharma. That's out.
And this is getting very serious now. I mean, so interesting thing is that his numbers for India are brilliant. I mean, we'll have to wait and see when South Africa comes to India. Just after the IPL, how does Rohit Sharma perform? If he performs for India, all well and good. Then MI have a separate problem. But I think this is now, it's crossing limits, and I think Rohit Sharma now should drop himself to number 4. That's the only way. I mean, or he can be a non-playing captain.
So there you have it. The news from DY Patil Stadium. Rohit Sharma is out, caught by Mitchell Santner, out for a duck. A huge, huge wicket for Chennai Super Kings. They'd be really buoyed by this wicket. It's a huge blow for Mumbai Indians yet again. Who will it be? Who will steady the innings from here on? Will it be Ishan Kishan along with Suryakumar Yadav? It's going to be an interesting one.
It's going to be an interesting one. Too much pressure again on Suryakumar Yadav. He'll have to first rebuild the innings, then play the playmaker, then accelerate at the death. And if he doesn't perform, then they are in trouble. Tilak Verma and Rebel Brevis are there, but a lot of pressure on Suryakumar Yadav. It's a test for the MI veterans. It is time for Pollard to show what he's made of today.
And surprise, surprise, then Dual Brevis is in.
Dual Brevis is in. Mini AB de Villiers. Okay.
Yes, he's in. Okay, so, well, that's it then. On the special News9 Sports is what you need to subscribe to if you want to get the latest from the world of sports. That's it from Nikhil and I. Goodbye. Thanks for watching.